All right, fight fans, welcome to Caveman Corner with your host, Jeff.
Captain Caveman!
Dan.
How's it going, Ray? How you doing?
I'm good.
We're here in balmy Buffalo, New York. It's like 50 degrees out. In the studio, it's probably like 85. From Fandoozy Studios. And
Yeah, man, it's hot in here. I feel like I'm in Mexico.
well, we got the right music for you, Ray. We got the right music. We're having a super special guest today. He's got a TV show. That's pretty big, right?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Big. That's big time.
We need a TV show. The Ray and Jeff show. Caveman's Corner TV.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that's going to happen because he's going to get us some shit, he said.
Oh, okay.
If not, we're going to have to beat him up.
We send Mickey at him.
No, he doesn't need poops in his studio. He needs some good guests. Anyways, he's hooked up with Fighters Network. He's in like 10 million households around the country. So we're going to have him on. We're going to talk about the recent Bellator and whatever else shit pops up. He's got a lot of good stories. Ray hooked me up with this guy. I ended up talking to him for like 3.5 hours on the phone the other day. So I can guarantee you this podcast is going to be pretty damn good.
It's talking for 3 hours. You know it's good.
Yeah, hopefully this podcast doesn't go 18 hours because we're going to have another special guest coming up.
The Beast.
Dan the Beast Severn. Ray hooked us up for this one. How'd you manage to get Dan the Beast Severn and Dan Cox?
Man, I don't know. I'm just a connected guy.
Yeah, Ray talked to me about Dan Cox. First of all, he's like, yeah, we need to go to Detroit to do this TV show. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Detroit? What's going on? And it comes to find out we can just do it over Skype. So we're going to do it from the studio here. So I made Ray download Skype, and we're going to be on TV soon. So Caveman's Corner is going viral, and we're going to be on TV. My radio face is going to be on Cox's TV show, voice, television show.
Yep.
All right, well, we're going to get Dan Cox on the line, so we'll talk to you guys in another second. And we're back. We got Dan Cox. How's it going, Mr. Cox?
It's going fantastic, fellas. I am recovering from that incredible fight that I watched last night between Ortiz and Chael Sonnen.
What did you think about the fight? What did you think about the fights? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, honestly, I was hoping for some fireworks. I think I made a comment to you. I thought it might look like slow motion after the first round. I got to say, Tito looked pretty damn good, and Chael looked really bad.
Chael didn't even look warmed up. He was totally dry. He just had that like blank look on his face. Do you think it was a work? Ray thinks it's a work.
Yeah, well, listen, I was hearing people talk about, it was a fix, and this. Listen, that wasn't a fix. Chael couldn't get that Darce. His arms weren't quite long enough. And he was finished with a choke to the jaw. It was a pain choke. There was no blood, no air. Tito was too big and too strong, and Chael came in and cashed that check, and that's what he was there for, in my opinion. I don't see Chael being a threat to anyone, really.
In Chael's defense, I think his moneymaker is his mouth, so if he gets that hurt, he's probably out of business.
That's what happened. He had to tap because the biggest muscle that he had going into that fight was in jeopardy in that choke he had. So, yeah, he had to tap.
I really thought Tito was in trouble too when he got out of the car and he's walking up, and even when he's warming up, it looked like his back was really bothering him. He looked like he was having a lot of back problems.
You know what? That is a guy. I don't think a lot of people understand the injuries that he's fought with and the surgeries. I mean, neck surgeries, back surgeries. He's had some serious injuries throughout his career, and he's always shown up. And like him or not, I thought that he looked really good last night. I'm glad that he retired, and I hope he stays retired.
I've heard he's retiring before. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he did, and then he's seen Bellator, and you start looking at a lot of fighters now, and you see that, yep, they're going to the Bellator and make some money.
Maybe UFC, he go back to the UFC for one more fight.
What was that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
Conspiracy theories.
Ray said he should go back to the UFC
for his last fight.
Yeah. You know what? I'll tell you what, the UFC has done a great job, and you gotta know that there's so many fighters there that are looking at the paydays that are coming in through Bellator because of the sponsorships, where Reebok has really limited a lot of these fighters, and it just makes sense. And Bellator is growing and growing, and I'm not so much into the fights that are really irrelevant in MMA. When I say irrelevant, I just mean that they're entertaining. I watch everyone. I appreciate what they're doing, but in the big picture, these guys aren't fighting for titles. They're never going to be fighting for titles, and so it is a straight entertainment fight, and it really wasn't that entertaining. I enjoyed seeing Chael get smacked and Tito holding on for an extra couple seconds. That made the whole fight for me. I think that I was more excited for that than anything else.
Oh, he's definitely getting suspended for that. Not that it matters when he's retired, but
Exactly.
I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, Tito, let him go.
no, we gotta squish that mouth. He wanted to shut him up. You don't make fun of a man's wife like that, or ex-wife.
Did he
And
marry?
plus, listen, Tito is a strong dude. I mean, listen, when I met with Tito and I was with Ben Rothwell and Tito Ortiz, I got a picture of it. I look like a little teeny. It looks photoshopped. He's so huge for 205. It's incredible. I don't know how he makes the weight, but that was early in the fight. They were dry, and he was putting the pain on his jaw. And it was impressive to see. I mean, I would have hated to see Tito lose to Chael. I really would have, and it would have been a pretty boring fight. Chael was not going to stand up with him. He hoped to wrestle him, and he just wasn't strong enough. He wasn't in shape either, guys. I mean, you seen him come in there. He definitely was not in shape for that fight.
He was too busy doing The Apprentice, probably.
It's about the money, right? It's about the money.
Yep.
Now, what did you guys think about the Ward fight?
The real main event?
Yeah.
I think Paul Daley looked amazing.
Oh yeah.
Although everyone said that spinning elbow was great, I don't think it was really technically that sound, although it landed very well. The flying knee was great.
I text you, I was like, that elbow was awesome.
And I was like, that elbow was shit.
I know, I was like, wait a minute, what? I was confused.
It's one of those things that it really doesn't matter the technique. If it lands, then it's a good shot. And listen, Paul Daley has always been a guy that can put you to sleep. I mean, he's a very one-dimensional fighter in that sense. I mean, Muay Thai champ, big striker, always has been. I'll never forget when he when he had the fight in the UFC before he got kicked out. Did you guys see that when he
punched
decided to throw a
Koscheck?
shot,
Yeah.
after the fight?
Yep, I seen that.
Koscheck's got a big mouth. That's what he gets for talking while they're fighting still. Although I wrestle with Koscheck, dude, he is fucking fast.
I'm telling you what, he was talking to him that whole time, 15 minutes in his ear, and Daley just couldn't take it. And, they talk about Rory McDonald, so Daley calls out McDonald. Now, Rory McDonald he's a well-rounded fighter. That's a guy that, in my opinion, should be able to walk through that division and definitely walk through Daley. He's got so many more ways to win that fight than Paul Daley. But anytime you can put someone to sleep that way, you just don't know, and that's what makes it so exciting.
I think so too. That they compared that knee to the Michael Venom Page knee, but I don't think it was even that close. To be honest with you,
I don't think so either.
That knee was devastating. What did you think about that knee? It wasn't even close, right? That knee to Cyborg was 1,000 times worse.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Listen, I have never. I mean, I've seen some wicked knees. I've seen orbitals crushed. Just horrific injuries. But to literally dent somebody's forehead, and if you look at the X-ray, I mean, that went in pretty far, and it did not touch his brain, which, I mean, it's kind of funny because there was no brain there for it to touch, but it is scary in the sense that could have really done some serious damage. I mean, I've never seen someone go into a knee like that, short of Cub Swanson, Jose Aldo in a WEC.
Yeah, man, that knee was probably the worst I've ever seen in my life, especially the damage it did. What did you think about the Gracie fight?
Vicious. Listen, those guys, the sport has evolved so much, and you see the up-and-coming guys, the younger guys that are so talented, and they're just, I guess, well-rounded is the word to use, because, I mean, look at poor B.J. Penn. Now, B.J.'s a guy that, he's not even that old, right? I mean, what is he, like 37?
Yeah, he's younger than me.
Well, there you go. See, now, if I was 37, I would be fighting too, I think. But
if he had a shoulder,
has not progressed whatsoever. He's exactly the same. He kind of reminded me of, like with Frank Yeager. He stood straight up. I'd never seen him fight like that before. It was the weirdest thing. And then when he shows up in his last fight, and I just felt terrible for him. And you know, I think BJ will quit. I hope he quits. I mean, I don't think he has anything to prove at this point. I hate seeing guys ruin their legacy when they do such great things.
Did you see his manager? His manager came out and asked the UFC to tell him that not to fight anymore. His manager said BJ still wants to fight.
You know he does. I mean, listen, he wants to go out on a win, and you know, as people that fight, if you're a fighter, you're always a fighter, and you're gonna want to compete, you know, and you just sit back and watch these guys compete, and you convince yourself, hey, I can do it. I was the best. But the sport has evolved, and BJ hasn't.
That's the truth. What do you think about the Helic Gracie fight against Kato?
Oh,
oh my God, his stand-up was awful.
You know what? I mean, I would give him 10 for awkwardness, and you know, but I got to say, as far as entertaining, that was pretty bad. That was pretty bad. And he hadn't fought since 2010, I think, and he decided he was going to come back. I wonder if he's going to want to continue, because you seen there at the end of the fight when he was able to get him down. I mean, he mounted him like nobody's business.
He passed his guard like his butter. But holy fuck, that was crazy.
Oh yeah, it was. And you know, if he was able to do that in the first round, I mean, listen, get that guy some wrestling.
Hell yeah.
Get him some wrestling, and he could be dangerous, but I don't think his striking is ever going to come along. I don't think he's got enough time in his life to
he needs
really improve much there.
Train some leg kicks with Ray. He needs some leg kick training with Ray. Ray, you got to show him how to throw a kick right.
Yeah. And you could teach him to wrestle.
So what was your guys' favorite fight of that card? My favorite fight?
I don't know. I kind of like the Sanchez fight, to be honest with you. The Sanchez against the Russian guy. I liked how the kind of like went against the new scoring system and the penalties, and they both need each other on the ground. And I like that kind of when it gets a little dirty like that.
I was a little scared. I thought it was gonna be a draw.
Yeah, I thought it might have been a draw too. Plus, Ray's Puerto Rican, so we always got to root for the the Hispanic type fighters.
You know what? I don't have a problem with that. But I will say this. What do you guys think about when a guy gets, like, let's say, the knees last night, the two knees that were so terrible, and all of a sudden he had to take a break. He took a break, and they took points from him. I didn't think any of the knees landed, to be honest with you. Now, what do you think when you see a fighter when he's hit by a foul, a knee, when he's down, but it really doesn't connect, and all of a sudden they're really having troubles, and, you know, I mean, is it a way out, or do you think that really landed last night, or do you think he was regrouping and getting his win?
I think he was regrouping. I thought the knee, I mean, I don't know, I think it didn't really hit him. Then hit him in the arm.
The first one hit him in the arm. I think the second one touched his face a little bit. I mean, it's not like a devastating shot, but at the same time, I think he's kind of in shock that the guy throws a knee. And then you got to sit there and you got to think, should I sit down? Because I'm going to get the win. I'm going to get the winner's money. Do I really want to get up and fight and take a chance of losing this guaranteed money? Because, you know, you are guaranteed money to win. Right. And it is going to be a disqualification if you don't continue.
And that's a great point, because he was getting it handed to him basically at that point. And I'll tell you, that was a decision I didn't know. I thought it was going to be a draw myself. But I love the rule changes. The fingers, I think something had to be done with that, and it goes to show you that it's not, listen, you train, you use boxing gloves, you do push off, you do put your hands out and push off all the time, but you see guys now, once that rule is put in place, where they're very conscious of it and they're able to keep their hands and their fingers out of their opponent's eyes. I think John Jones might have a problem with that rule when he does come back.
I think he does it intentionally, to be honest with you. I don't think it's an
no doubt.
unintentional thing. And I think he's going to be able to handle it, too. For those who don't know, that they made a couple new rules. And one of the new rules is you're no longer allowed to point your open fingers at your opponent towards their eyes. Right now I'm doing it to Ray so he can see what we're talking about. Ray's a little slow, so sometimes the guy give him an example.
I got glasses on. I'm protected.
Yeah. So if my fingers are pointed towards you, it's illegal. If my fingers are open but pointed up, it is still a legal technique. So you can still have your hands up to intercept punches and make the clinch, but you can no longer point your fingers at an opponent's eyes. And now they can call it a foul and deduct points from you. Before, they're not allowed to take points away.
So no open hand strikes, no slapping.
You can still slap.
Diaz will be able to smack people all day long as he doesn't poke them in the eye. And look at guys like Michael Bisping. I mean, holy smoke. That poor guy, and he's still fighting. I still don't know how he sees out of that eye. I don't know which way it's looking when I see him, actually.
Is it really that bad in person?
Think about this. You got John Jones, good example against Cormier. What did he have, 12-inch reach advantage? And then you add on those 6, 7-inch fingers. So he's literally, he puts those fingers out. He could keep someone at distance all day long. And I agree. I don't think that was a mistake by John. I mean, it's a fight, guys, right? It's a fight. So if you don't get caught or called for it, it's legal.
Yeah, he's not the nicest guy in the world either. He's definitely take advantage of everything he can. So I definitely think he's like that. Another rule that they changed is the grounded opponent rule change. You're no longer allowed to put one hand down and say you're a grounded opponent, and they can't knee you in the head anymore. Obviously, in the fight that we were talking about earlier, Emmanuel still had a knee down on the ground. If you have your knee on the ground, you can't be kneed still. So it wasn't that much of a change. But from now on, if you just have one hand down, they can still knee you. You can't play that game anymore, which is a great rule, I think.
And that's great. I was so tired of that because, you know what? So many guys played that game. I don't know the difference between, kneeing somebody when they're standing or down, where it's, hurting or where it's going to, be so much worse. Some of those rules, I like the old school rules, when they were able to throw the knees and do that stuff.
I think so too. I started fighting back in the day with no rules, and I've always liked that. No rules, no time limit, no weights. Another rule that they changed the females' apparel. They're no longer allowed to wear anything loose-fitting or any kind of pants. They need to wear a sports bra or a form-fitting rash guard, and they can't have anything below the knee as a woman. And that's pretty important because Valerie Letourneau almost lost her top. Remember that? And then she got cracked in the head.
Oh, yeah.
So that's a good rule change.
It is. Listen, I think it's the biggest problem that we run into as fans and then as the fighters is consistent judging. And what are the judges looking for? What are they actually counting? And in my opinion, if you sit next to the cage and you get the view that the judges have, a lot of people are under the impression that they're using monitors, and they're not. They're looking at it. So they're missing so much of the fight where they're sitting. I would love to see the refs have a monitor where they're able to actually see what's going on at all times.
Do you think
because the judging is where we need to get the consistency.
I got some stuff about the scoring too, but do you think that that takes a little bit of the human element out of the fights because everyone's going to have a different angle? I kind of like that about fighting at times too.
Well, that is true, and the purists, you're going to have that argument there, and I guess it was similar to when they did, instant replay in other sports. I think as the sports advance and as they become, so much more popular. I mean, let's look at the UFC and just MMA in general, and it's got to be the fastest growing sport in the history of the world that I know of. I've never seen a sport become so huge, so fast, and things have to catch up, I mean, so the rules start to change, and then I think the emphasis on the ref and their ability to do a good job. And there, we've seen some bad decisions. Listen, Tanya Evinger's fight, when she fought for the title, you know, she's the champ. She was caught in an armbar. She was standing. She pivoted, put her foot on her opponent's face, applied pressure to get rid of that armbar, which is 100% legal. She had done it with that same ref in 2013, but he stopped her. She ended up losing via armbar. The decision was overturned, which was amazing, and she still retains that belt. But that shows you right there. I mean, the ref just didn't know the rule.
For sure. And actually, I want to talk about that point for a second, too. UFC is growing faster than any other sport that ever happened anywhere. Football, baseball, all this stuff evolved over hundreds of years of time. I mean, UFC went from nothing, and then you see, you know, Stephan Bonner, Forrest Griffin, and a year later, UFC's everywhere. It's the biggest sport in the nation. And that's like a year or two growth. It's never happened before, and with social media and everything, the sport just blew up.
Yeah, because in the 80s, everybody thought that, you know, martial artists fought like in blood sport.
Yeah, for sure. But, I mean,
well, you know, people, I know myself, you know, coming from a boxing background, when I first seen MMA, I mean, it was incredible, right? I'm used to just hands, and I'm seeing these guys, you know, takedowns and elbows and everything else. I was just in love with the sport. Even, you know, when I seen a couple guys, the one guy come out with a boxing glove on one hand. And I remember thinking, well, what the hell is he doing, for God's sake? But the sport has blown up to the point that the UFC sold for, you know, over $4 billion.
To a bunch of movie stars, too. They all own movie stars, all own it now, too. That's great.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's like 20 of them that own the big shares of it.
There's all kinds of businesses that are springing up because of the sport of MMA. And, again, the progression is huge. The curve has changed. The talent level has changed. And with the women, it's really, you can really see it. You know, the women came in, and when they first started, I think a lot of guys, just like Dana White, you know, he didn't think he would ever have women in there fighting. He didn't see it as entertaining. He thought it would be slow, wouldn't be good. Listen, these women will kick your ass. I had more arguments with friends of mine that think they can go in there and beat the shit out of some of these girls, and I just wish I could give them that experience once.
I just did a podcast literally an hour ago, and I had a woman in here that I trained with for a long time, Val Aspaas, and she beat the shit out of this guy in the ring before, David Whitman, and they're like the same weight class, and she beat the shit out of him. It was amazing.
Wow, I wish I was there.
Yeah, and I'm having David Whitman on too, so I'm talking some trash about him. So we're gonna have a good show for that one too. He might wreck the studio. Our $100,000 studio is gonna be just like it's 25-cent host. We're gonna be smashed up.
Did you say Trevor Whitman?
No, David Whitman.
Oh. Okay.
Although he might be tremoring a little bit.
I have to say I'm a big fan of the women getting in there and fighting, and I think, you know, again, I hate hitting the same point of it evolving, but you look at someone like a Ronda Rousey, who an incredible athlete, she's an incredible competitor. Obviously, that's what got her to that point of being a champion, was her judo and her armbar. But she got a coach that decided to try to convince her she was a striker, and it's amazing to me when you have Edmund, and, you know,
Count Chocula.
Listen, I do mean to tell Edmund he sucks, because Edmund sucks balls. There's no excuse after getting schooled like she did with Holly Holm to have her go into the next fight and still no footwork, no head movement, no lateral movement, not a clue what to do. And the first jab that hit her, she was hurt.
Yeah, she crumpled
up.
up.
That to me is a crime. I think if Ronda Rousey had been in a different gym where she's not the best, right? Because if you're the best in your gym, you're in deep shit.
Yeah.
She's the best in her gym. And,
Ray, you're
and
safe.
The girls that train with her became sparring partners. And I hate saying it, like Shayna Baszler Shayna, she's a stud on the ground. She is extremely talented. Jasmine Duke, again, those girls became sparring partners to Ronda, in my opinion, and they fight that way now.
And they all had to sign agreements where they couldn't talk about how the sparring actually went with Ronda too. So not too much word has come out how the sparring actually went. But I'd be really interested to hear about that.
Oh yeah.
Well, you could tell watching Ronda in the stand-up that she's not doing much sparring. I mean, you could tell just by the way she responds when she gets hit. And again, I got to go right back to Edmund. I mean, even when you had Travis Brown, and I know why Travis went over to the gym. I mean, Ronda was that's his woman.
Right.
Yeah.
But his striking went to shit when he went over there. He didn't look good. If he didn't have Ricky Lundell in his corner, I think he would have lost a couple more fights than he has up to this point.
We had Adam Guerrero on, and he compares Edmund to Count Chocula. He looks like Count Chocula from the cereal. So,
well, I don't think there's anything better than what was done during the Ultimate Fighter when they took that picture from, I forget what movie it was, Dodgeball, or what was the name of that movie? Son of a gun. But that looks just like him. He does have the unibrow. And hey, listen, it's not a knock against him. I don't care what he looks like. You've seen him in that Travis Brown fight when he comes in the cage and he's throwing a fit. That shows his class right there and his lack of professionalism. I was embarrassed. Period. I don't like that guy. I don't think Ronda's mom likes him either.
Hey, Caveman, I think I'm a better striker than him. I think I could beat him up in the K1 fight.
Ray's been trying to get a fight with Edmund for a little bit now, even though Edmund might beat you up, dude.
I'll tell you what, you don't want to get into a clinch where he could rub you with that unibrow, because he would definitely rough your skin up with that, no doubt about it.
He looks like he's in good
No
shape.
doubt about it.
Ray's only got about 2.5 good minutes. I think for 2.5 minutes, Ray kicks his ass. For the rest of the fight, it's over. Ray's just going to be like hands on his knees, old school Mark Holman, tired style.
Oh, that's good. My thing will always be, it's a fight. You just can't grapple me. You can't wrestle me. You just have to stand up and box me. And that's my speed. I did do a little bit of, listen, I thought, hey, if I'm going to be interviewing these fighters, right, and I don't have MMA experience, I'm surely not an MMA fighter, I need to see what it's all about, and let me try to cut a little bit of weight, right? I'll cut 15 pounds. I'm going to tell you something. You guys are nuts, man. Jeff, you're out of your mind, dude. How you're able to cut that weight like that, I have no idea. That was just pure misery, and being put against a cage, and everyone said, look at them, they're resting. Listen, there's no resting. Every muscle in your body is tensed and tight, and the worst thing in the world, the worst feeling is you cannot defend yourself because you're gassed.
Dude, that's the most.
I experienced.
It's the most grueling thing that you can ever experience is fighting along in a cage. It's just the level of wrestling that's going on in that clinch. There's so much energy being spent.
Right.
It is.
How much you lost? 15 pounds, you said, and you didn't say it, but we
that
talked
was
about it
what I
before.
was trying to do.
Oh,
I lost consciousness actually, but
Wow.
Yeah, no, I got on a little rubber suit, the bike, and sit inside the sauna for a few minutes, and I did drop some weight, no doubt about it. But
how much did you end up losing?
I was really impressed with how unhealthy it is. For Christ's sakes, listen, there's not any doctor in the world that will let any of you guys get in there and fight if they even get to see you for 2 minutes, because you're literally so dehydrated. I mean, I've seen it where guys are upset and they have a tear run down their face. Their team is excited. Come on!
Cry more!
You got a lot to go. You just had a tear.
Yeah.
I lost
Back in
15
the
pounds. I lost 15 pounds
Yeah.
the night before the weigh-in for my first fight.
And Ray's 260. What are you? 268, 260?
No, I was when I was training full time, I was like 220.
220.
Yeah.
And you made it to make 205, 15.
Yeah.
How much did you end up losing, Mr. Cox? Mr. Cox! I like the way that sounds.
Yeah, listen, I'll tell you something. I thought when I was a kid I was the only person in the world with that name, but as I got older, I found out that wasn't true, and actually, it was a benefit for me.
For your condom
people
company?
Do remember it. Well, you do have hand models and foot models and things like that. So I'm just waiting for the opportunity. But I will say this: I was considering. Now we had talked about. Jeff. We were speaking about some of the sponsors in the sport, and they brand and get their logos all over the place and on every fighter. And if you remember back when Full Tilt Poker was, on everybody's backs and just everywhere, and it worked for them. But the one thing that popped out for Jeff that he remembered, what was it? Jeff?
Condom Depot on the guy's ass. I was like, how much do they pay you to have Condom Depot on your ass? You got to be making a lot of money to do that shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and actually, you got to think about what is a Condom Depot. I mean, is it for the guys that go to CVS and they just don't sell the quantity that he needs, so you got to go to the warehouse and order in bulk, I guess. But I had a great idea because I thought, listen, this is kind of a niche like the pet rock, but actually it's practical, and it would be everything is custom nowadays. So why not Cox's custom condoms?
That's perfect, man. I would buy some.
I think it is, right?
Yeah.
We'll send your girl some plaster of Paris or whatever it is, and you do your cash, send it in, get yourself a custom fit, and
I can finally get one that doesn't fall off. This is like nothing to grab on the sides; it just slips right off every time. God damn it!
Yeah, and then that would eliminate that, and maybe you could add some handles to it or something as well for those moments you need that. But yeah, I'm surprised because how many times have you guys ever looked at a company that's on somebody's banner or on their shorts and said, wow, let me Google that. Let me look up that company.
Cox's condoms would work. Condom Depot worked.
Beyond a doubt. And just like Condom Depot, I mean, that gets your attention. It's the same thing if you're writing an article, right? I mean, you've got two ways to hook somebody, the visual or the title.
Mickey,
so
you hear that?
If I write something about Ronda Rousey, if I use a picture of her, talking with unibrow, or if I use a picture of her covering her nipple with one finger, you're most likely going to stop on that article that has Ronda with the finger.
Oh, yeah.
Ray's getting excited right now. You better stop talking about Ronda so much. Jesus Christ. Dude,
Well,
you're married.
I feel safe. I feel safe. I heard good things about you, Ray.
He's only safe because he's not in the studio.
I got to ask you guys, man, what are you thinking about the divisions over there? We got 145, 155 in the UFC. McGregor's always a topic. He's always, doing something. And I think he's earned what he's got now at this point. And I think Aldo is not going to be able to finish his career without fighting McGregor again. Do you think that McGregor will be able to, if he ever did, I don't think he would drop to 145 again.
No, it's not going to happen again.
But if he did, do you think he could beat Aldo again?
I think he beats Aldo again. I don't think it's as quick, but I think he beats him again. I think he's just a superior striker. Aldo's lost half a step, and that's too much to not have against McGregor, unless they're both in a spot in their career where they're both falling down a little bit. I think Aldo's a better grappler, so I think when they're older, the older they both get, the more advantage it goes to Aldo, but I think right now Conor McGregor's just on top of his game, and his reflexes and timing are just second to none right now in the UFC.
Well, I agree with that. He does have incredible timing, and he's a precision striker. But you got to remember, Aldo had to go through that world tour of media with McGregor for months and months of that, and then he had to get out of the fight. He was so mentally walking out to that. I never seen him look that way. Walk into the cage.
He looks soft
and
too.
Inside the cage, he was mentally either beat, maybe not beat, but definitely in a position he had never been in before. And he just ran into the shot. I mean, he literally just ran into it.
McGregor makes it happen though. Same thing. Every one of his fights, you run into that shot, and I don't know.
Yep.
I think right now.
Well, listen, guys. Why is it that when you see, and in MMA especially, and I do understand, because you have to be a master of all skills, so you're not going to be, just a boxer. But when you're orthodox fighting a southpaw, you have to keep your lead foot to the outside of your opponent's foot. And I see this constantly, where they're not utilizing this, and it's the basic stuff. That's what gets me so mad about Rousey. I'm not a big Rousey freak. I love what she's done, and I think she's very talented. I don't think she's mentally a fighter like some fighters, because, listen, when you fight, you lose. It's part of it. She has not been able to deal with losing. But what is going on? I mean, there's striking coaches out there like Angelo Reyes. I'm going to give you a plug, Angelo, because I think he's one of the best, if not the best, striking coaches out there. He's working with Frank Mir and Anna Juliatan, I believe is her name, from One FC. And I'll tell you what, man, this is a guy that was Freddie Roach's understudy over at Wildcard for years. He's actually got a black belt in Kempo Karate. And when he works with a fighter, you can see the difference. I mean, Mir dropped Bigfoot Silva with a check hook.
Yeah, his striking improved so much. We talk about this improvement too. Mir became a striker.
Well, when I seen that, that's when I was like, hold on, who is Frank training with? Who's teaching him striking? And that's when I seen it was Angelo, because at that point I didn't even know Angelo was in MMA game at all. And I was excited about that, because to me, I think wrestling is the main key when you come into mixed martial arts, because if you're able to dictate where the fight goes, you're able to, keep it to your strengths, a la like a Chuck Liddell, being able to keep the fight standing. Rousey having the judo and no wrestling at all, she didn't have the threat of a level change or of a takedown. And again, she didn't have the footwork to move and get out of the way. But if you were to take that woman and stick her in a gym, like let's say at Jackson's or wherever, she is not
Alpha male invited her to come train.
Where she's not the star, and she's going to get her ass handed to her on a daily basis. She's such a competitor that I think she could really, really thrive, to be honest with you. But I don't see it happening. I think mentally it's too much for her.
I think Alpha Male offered her a chance to come train with them. If I was her, I would go there. That would be the best place for her. Let me throw a question back at you. What do you think about Conor McGregor actually going into boxing? Pacquiao actually offered to fight him if Mayweather wouldn't.
Well, I listen. Everybody talks about it, and for a payday, I think it would be great for Conor. But I think it would go just exactly as you would think, which is in a boxing ring, Conor gets his ass handed to him terribly. Whoever he's fighting, if it's Mayweather, if it's Pacquiao. If it's Pacquiao, Conor's going to sleep. If it's Mayweather, he might be going to sleep too. But on the other hand, if those guys go into the cage, then it's James Toney versus Randy Couture all over again.
I think it should be a K1 fight, Mayweather and McGregor.
I would love
That'd be fair. That'd be fair.
You gotta know that these guys boxing. I mean, they're training their whole life to box. I don't think they could kick you very hard above your knee, really. But again, no, you got some really great athletes. They could learn fast. Who was a football player that started fighting in Bellator? I can't think of his name.
Herschel Walker? Oh no, that wasn't Bellator.
Herschel Walker.
That was Elite XC, right?
No, that was Strikeforce.
Strikeforce. Yeah.
Strikeforce. Yeah. Strikeforce. That's just a crazy athlete, right? He's just a phenomenal athlete, and he's able to get in there and compete, for his age and everything. That's impressive. But to go back to the Conor McGregor, I really do think, if you were to break down Conor's striking game, it's not really, when it comes to the boxing, he's not that great of a boxer. His technique isn't that clean. He does understand, the game. He does counter very well. And most importantly, he has that confidence. He can keep his eyes open in the pocket, and just the way he caught Jose, because you seen Aldo landed that shot on him, that left hook, even after he was unconscious falling to the floor. That punch still landed. And that was because Conor was able to stop, get off that back foot, put that weight into that shot as he's coming forward, and that was what impressed me, was the precision and the fact that he's seen it.
I really think if you take the kicks away from Conor McGregor, you change his distance. He's got that really flowy style. He doesn't really damage you with those kicks, but he uses them to find his range. And he darts in and out so quick. I think without the kicks, I don't think I've seen him box. He doesn't really look that good. But I bet you he could be a decent kickboxer. He really uses those kicks for rangefinders. I really like the way he uses his kicks.
He got more like a karate kick.
Yeah, he flows kind of like Ali, if you know Ali, Ray.
Yes, I do.
I do. Not Muhammad Ali, Ali from our gym.
Yes.
He flows like Ali. He definitely doesn't flow like Muhammad Ali because he doesn't get hit like that.
Well, listen, that's the thing with Aldo, right? Because Conor's style with that wide stance, and which does resemble like a karate style or a taekwondo or something, and you see that lead leg sitting out there. Now, if Aldo lands a few of those leg kicks that he's able to unleash, it could be a whole different story. And you've seen when Conor fought Diaz the last fight, that was the most leg kicks he had ever thrown in his life, and his leg was killing him. He was on a crutch after that from kicking, knee. So you're right. I don't think he uses those kicks to damage. I think it is a way to gauge distance, and I also think it's a way to keep people's mind, not just looking for that big left, because the lead left is always going to be open when you're fighting orthodox, just like the lead right's open when you're fighting a southpaw. And it's who gets position and is able to throw first. I get frustrated seeing these single shots. I want to see combinations, 2, 3, 4 shots at a time.
McGregor puts them together, though. Like he
does.
He really does put it together, and I think he uses his footwork and those little teep kicks, those little like side karate kicks. He uses all that to keep the guys off him, keeping them from blowing up his legs. You never see him take a lot of damaging leg kicks, and I think the distance that he shows you with those kicks keeps you from throwing that leg kick, because the first time he hits you and you're off balance trying to wind up that big Muay Thai like leg kick, he's going to knock you off balance. He's going to take advantage of it, because if he hits you, he's going to hurt you. And that's just something
and that's exactly it right there, is you cannot just throw a single leg kick against McGregor, because he'll knock you out. So you got to set it up with your hands, which means you've got to get in that range. So it's one of those kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't things. I really think that McGregor is one of the most talented raw athletes. This is a guy in 2012, I believe. He was on government assistance, and
like Ray.
You hear.
No,
well,
you mean Mickey.
And both of you might be the champ and be a gazillionaire pretty soon, because he went from that to being the king of the ring. And honestly, all the talk he does, people say, Chael Sonnen's the best talker. Listen, Chael writes that shit down like he's writing a song. Conor is that guy. That's the way Conor is. He's been that way.
Who the fuck is that?
Who the fuck is you?
It's like Diaz. Diaz isn't putting on a show. That's Diaz. That's the way he is. That's the way his brother is. It's natural. And I love to hear Conor go, because he's been able to get into people's heads every single fight except the Diaz fight. So now the question is, for me, people seen that he lost, they seen, which honestly, he kind of gave that choke up, really. I mean, he was tired.
Exhausted, yeah.
He was getting beat. But is the mystique gone, like with Rousey? Once she got beat, then everybody was like, hey, you just got to slug with this chick, and, you knock her out. Well, I'm curious to see, because I wanted to see Conor. I didn't think, first of all, he ever should have got the shot at the title when he did. I thought that it's a business. The UFC wanted him to get that shot and to win. Obviously, he sells tickets. Aldo doesn't sell tickets. Conor does. But I didn't think that Conor did what it took to fight for the title. I really wanted to see Conor go against a Frankie Edgar, someone like that at that point. And he constantly just shut me up because every time he performed, and you've got to wonder, how is it he's able to literally, he is the calmest, cool dude out there when there's so much pressure on him. You know yourself, if you predict, I'm knocking you out in this round, blah, 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 and you do all that talking, that puts pressure on you too.
It sure does, and he handles
and so you've got to perform, and this guy delivers, and he delivers every time, and I think he's a hell of a lot smarter than what people give him credit for as well.
Oh, hell yeah. He's the best businessman in the business right now, for sure. And I mean it. Best businessman in the business.
I agree. And I think he knows this business better than anybody else, too, because he owns the UFC. He gets exactly what he wants when he wants it. And if he doesn't, then he goes home. But that's a guy that's got a big future in the sport. You know, in a sport where you don't have a very long career, so someone like John Jones, who was the best fighter out there as far as I was concerned at that point, even though he has his issues, and he has had those issues for a long time from what I know, he was still able to get in there and perform. He trained, what was it, like less than 4 years, and he was a UFC champ.
Hell yeah. Just to get back
you
to
think he's going to come back and fight again?
Of course he is. He's got to pay for that cocaine somehow. Jesus Christ.
But is he going to be a perfect example of the sport passing him up? Everybody getting better and John kind of staying the same? Because Jones was one of the first fighters where people were just in awe of how his technique was so much better and he just was so much better than everyone else. I'm curious to see, you know, because John's his worst enemy, obviously.
He's going to be good as long as his body holds up. As long as he's physically superior to his opponents, he's going to be fine, I think. He's so creative in there.
With Jones, you guys, because Jones, you know, he cuts to make 205. He's a big dude, and you know, as you get older, it's a lot harder to cut that way.
He's too small for
heavyweight. You see him going up to heavyweight?
He's too small. He's too small for heavyweight, I think.
You think so?
I think so. Like, body-wise, he's a perfect height for it, but he's too small.
Well, his legs. I never knew why people didn't try to attack those little chicken bone legs he's got, because he's got some skinny legs. Because
he can punch you from the guys that he's fighting. The guys can't kick him when they're getting punched by John Jones because he's like 18 feet fucking taller than them. It's just how it works out for him.
You know, listen, the name of the game is to be able to hit and not get hit, right? And with his reach, and some of the moves he did, like they'll call it an oblique kick. This is not an oblique kick, for Christ's sake. It's hyperextending your knee. We're going to try to drive your knee backwards, and that's what that kick is all about.
Do you think that kick should be legal?
That's just right where I was going, because you've got all these crazy rules like an elbow, 12-6, that's illegal. Okay, it makes no sense. Why? I guess somebody said, well, that's how they break all those, you know, bricks or whatever the hell they say. And that's just insane. I think it's all the same. I don't like that kick, man, because that's not a submission where you get a chance to tap before, you know, the tree stump or Husmar Pahars destroys your knee. You know,
he's going to destroy it anyways, because even if you tap out, he's breaking it.
Well, that's right. That's right. But at least, though, you've got a minute before, or a few seconds, you know he's got it. That kick coming at you, that's something, I have not seen it where it hurt a fighter where they had to stop the fight yet. But I'm waiting for that to happen.
It's going to blow out someone's knee, and I think maybe the rule gets changed. They allowed heel kicks back again. Did you see that? Heel kicks are legal again? Talk about the rule changes. And now you can grab the clavicle one more time. Although I've never seen that happen before. To be honest, I didn't even know that was a rule.
Well, I used to watch, you know, back in the day, I would see just the stand-up, just the karate, some kickboxing, and you would see, you know, some of these huge kicks. I can't think of the name of the kick right now, just coming up and coming down on the shoulder.
Like an axe kick? Yeah, bang.
Yeah.
Dislocate that shoulder.
Well, I've seen that, and where a guy literally, it just broke his collarbone. Ooh. It was vicious kick.
Who was the one that
K1? I don't see that very
much. Crow Cop hit somebody with
Andy.
that, too.
Andy
who?
Yeah.
Who was really good at that.
Yeah.
And Crow Cop kicked, what's his name in the face with that? Mark Hunt, my wife's favorite fighter.
Yeah, Mark Hunt, that's your wife's favorite fighter?
Yeah.
What is he, the sexy Samoan?
Yeah, she's nodding right now.
Yep.
She's in the studio listening. She got some headsets on so she can hear you, too.
Hey, listen, you got to love Mark Hunt, man. That's a guy that, a K1 champ. I mean, he did his thing in Pride. He's, and look at his body style. And he got into mixed martial arts without any ground game whatsoever and was still beating guys' ass. I mean, when they got him down, he had to learn, the ground game after a while, and he's come a long way. And you look at his last fights, like the fight he had with Frank Mir. Wow, that's the kind of power right there that makes you look really stupid when you get hit.
He's the king of the walk-off knockout. He made that famous. Now everyone else tries to imitate him and do it themselves, but he's the king of it.
Yeah.
He's the one in the original.
And he knows. I mean, gosh, when he hit Stefan Struve, I mean, he just busted his jaw to bits, and you see it coming. You know it's coming. And when he fought Mir, he showed what kind of a striker he really was, because he threw a punch where he knew Mir was going to be. He didn't throw it there while Mir was already there. Mir was dipping every time. He got that time. Threw that shot, Mir dipped right into it, and it just took all of his equilibrium right away and knocked him stupid.
Well, that's crazy. Let's get into your TV show for a minute now. So you got some TV shows going on. You want to talk to my fans about that a little bit and put the word out? And you said on Twitter that you had a special announcement. I did not spar this whole week, so my mind's a little clear. I remember shit like that. So what do you got going on?
Fantastic. I'm glad that you remember it. Because you reminded me of it, actually. Yeah, honestly, it's an awesome thing, man, because I do exactly what you guys do. I'm a fan of the sport.
Wait, you get paid for it, right? So you're not doing exactly what we're doing.
I can't say I get paid, yeah. I'll take the fifth
I'm
on
a 25 cents host.
Yeah.
Co-host.
Co-host. Yeah, I'm the host, Ray. Jesus Christ. Get out. Lock yourself out of the studio again. I'm the host. Ray's the co-host.
25 cents.
But it's a perfect example, you guys, of how the sport is growing, because when you can get a 49-year-old guy like myself, that is, I am just a fan of combat, period, and I love the sport, and I just pushed, and it's just one of those things that because of this growing, because the sport being so big, there's a market out there. There's a market for the dedicated and the passionate people in this sport, and I'm excited about it. I mean, the future looks very bright. I'm very excited, and I'm actually looking forward to right now is the fight with Bobby and Roy Jones Jr.
Bare knuckle brawl.
Oh,
yeah. But see, it's not going to be the bare knuckle, right? This is a cruiserweight title fight.
Oh, I thought you said it was going to be bare knuckle.
No, and that's the thing. It looked like that when it was advertised at first. It's not.
Oh, I'm disappointed now.
A cruiserweight fight.
Caveman.
Well, gosh, think about this. Roy Jones Jr., he's got 4 titles, 4 different divisions. Olympic silver medalist in '88 in the Summer Olympics. And this guy is a legend. And then you've got Bobby Gunn, who he was a cruiserweight champ too. I mean, he's fought, had 4 title fights. He fought James Toney. I mean, he's not some slub. I mean, he's a legit guy. He got into the bare knuckle, and he did win the title for that. So he is the champ in bare knuckle. But now he's going against Roy Jones Jr. on the 17th of February. And that is a fight, guys, that I think is kind of history-making for bare-knuckle boxing. And I, as a fan of combat, bare-knuckle boxing it's a precision sport, man. You can't just fling your hands. You'd be busting knuckles in your hands all day long. So you see a lot of body work and, again, precision punching. So I really would love to see bare-knuckle come full circle so that it is 100% legal and becomes a sport that the fans get to see. Now, Jeff, you fought bare knuckle before, right?
When I started MMA, it was bare knuckle. It wasn't just bare knuckle boxing, though, because I'm not that tough. I used to just take people down, and I could punch them with my bare knuckles. A little bit different back in the day. Like, I did the original UFC rules, and I would say I would not want to do a 12-round boxing fight with bare knuckles, to be perfectly frank with you.
Well, listen, people don't understand that, when you throw a punch, you hit upside top of somebody's head, your hand will break first. And so you just can't throw those big shots, a la Chuck Liddell windmill over the top punch. You just won't have a hand after that. So that's what makes the sport so interesting to me, is because you have to get the basics. You've got to be working the body. You're only throwing those shots up top when it's open and clear for you to land it, or you don't have much of a career. So this fight against Roy Jones Jr., a lot of people look at it on paper and think Roy just walks away with it. And, hey, he's got the ability. There's no doubt about it. But Bobby is a big guy. He's hungry because this is it for him. He takes this. He brings so much attention to the BKF and to BKB that I think he'd be able to write his own ticket.
The guy that does the opening for my show right now, the big Captain Caveman, when we open, we started without you, so you missed it. But he does the opening. He fought bare knuckle before. He got paid like $10,000 to go do a bare knuckle fight, and that's pretty tough. He's a tough guy too.
It's brutal.
I would do it.
I'd do it too.
For $10,000, I think I'm in there too. But I've got my hands they're pretty much destroyed. I've got boxer fractures or whatever they call them on both hands, and that's wearing boxing gloves, for God's sake. But I had so many fights playing hockey, so I think that's where I really destroyed my hands. But let me ask you guys something. What is the big? Because 2016 was a great year for the sport, and it ended with incredible fights. We had some incredible fights. That fight with Cub and Choi. Whoa, that kid, he looks like a little kid. He has power in that right hand. He throws that thing straight as an arrow, and it lands, and he hurts people. That is a guy that's got a big future, man. He really does, and I did love that fight. It showed a lot of. For me, I didn't need to see that from Cub. I know how tough Cub is, and he's proven that over the years. He's been fighting for quite a while. But Choi, I was curious to see how he'd react in that fight, and he's tough. He's a fighter.
He is a fighter. I almost fought Cub Swanson before. I was assigned to fight him, and it kind of fell through for Cub Swanson's first pro fight. That's how old I am. God damn. I'm glad I didn't get him. He probably beat my ass.
Listen, Cub's been fighting a long time, man. People don't they don't realize. It's like actually, I had gotten an argument with somebody who is very knowledgeable in this sport about Dominic Cruz and Uriah Faber, and I had told him, listen, Faber choked Cruz out, man, first round. It might even have been a one-arm guillotine, for God's sake. And, people didn't remember that. Faber was the face of MMA.
Yeah, WEC. He made WEC.
Oh, he did. He was the star. That dimple on the chin, man, that sold tickets. And he was, an incredible athlete, extremely fast. And again, this is another example of the sport evolving, because Uriah continued to evolve. And I think Team Alpha Male is a great camp. You got some really good fighters in there. And, look at what Garbrandt did.
Hell
to
yeah.
Cruz.
Do you think Garbrandt's gonna beat TJ?
I think he should definitely be able to beat TJ. You look at it like this. TJ, his style has, Ludwig. I don't care what anybody says. It's almost a carbon copy of Dominic Cruz's footwork. And when he fought Cruz, he was he couldn't deal with it. He became himself and was flat-footed. Cruz was able to continue to move around. But what Cody did against Cruz is he was able to timed that every time he switched southpaw and came in with that right hand counter, and it hurt Cruz over and over. I think TJ, as tough as he is, I think that Cody is something special, man. I really do. He handled the pressure in that fight like nobody else. I didn't think he would be able to handle the pressure. I didn't think if it went 5 rounds, he would be the winner for sure. And the guy wasn't even gassed, man.
Yeah, he's the only one that's ever been able to pick up on darts and all the sneaky stuff that Cruz does to get in there and get out.
Yeah.
His timing is amazing. But they do say that TJ knocked him out in practice back in the old days, and there's actually film of it existing somewhere.
Google it.
Well, I mean, TJ has a reputation of, just going one speed when he spars and trains with guys, and that's full force all the way. And that's a good thing for him, and not so good for some of the sparring partners. But listen, if you fight, you're going to get caught. I think it's actually a good thing, because you need to know how you're going to respond. You need to know what are you going to do when you do get cracked, and that you can recover and take it. That was a big thing for Ronda Rousey, was how is she going to respond when she gets hit? And you could tell that she responded pretty bad. That jab hurt her. So I think the hard sparring is good. I think that the history that you've got between Team Alpha Male and Ludwig and Faber and Dillashaw, and then, of course, because Cody's there, they're going to use that. They'll pump that out. And I think that that's a fight that Cody will look good in. Again, I think the fight that's going to be tough for Cody is when he goes against somebody that is going to stand there and bang right back with him, and has some footwork as well. But because he's a slugger, man, so you want to get in there and slug with him.
Everyone at 35 has footwork, so it's going to be tough to find a 35-pounder that's elite without good footwork. I don't think it really happens.
Yeah. But it's there's footwork and then there's footwork. I mean, guys being able to get away from punches and move around the ring or the cage is great. But being able to use your feet and come in and out on angles is the name of the game, and that's something that very few fighters are able to do. Really, I mean, I think that you look at someone like Demetrius Johnson. He is a perfect example of someone that has come so far with his footwork and his game. I think that he's one of the best guys in the game. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's a pound for pound. I actually think he's about ready to get beat, to be honest with you. You can only win so long. You need to be challenged, and there's nobody at 125 right now that is bringing it to the guy.
Here's a great thing about
a super fight.
Here's what I think is a great thing about having like dominant champions like that. I think it raises, just like the same thing with Cruz, it raises the level of all the competition in that weight class. Guys like Gambit, they grew up their whole career, they're like, I'm going to get dominant Cruz. And they grew up through the whole fighting career like focused on beating that one guy. And that develops these crazy good athletes that we see today. I was in the locker room with Cody.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I was in the locker room with Cody Gambit for one of my fights. We were in the same locker room, and he was like a super cool guy, super chill before the fight. I don't think any of the pressure's ever going to get to him. I mean, like before the fight, he was just in there hanging out in his suit. Like 2 fights before his, he wasn't even changed yet. So then he got changed and warmed up, and it was good to go. It was amazing.
Well, the reason I thought that this might be tough for him was that fight with Cruz was the way he was, really wanting to fight with him before, and it seemed like maybe Cruz was in his head, and it was totally the opposite when you seen the fight. And listen, the knock on Cruz was always, he's not a finisher. He's going to dance around and outpoint you. After those injuries, he came back and he finished, and then he fought Faber for the 3rd time and cracked him a couple times. He really tried to finish Cody in that fight, and I got to give him his props for that, because he didn't have to do that. He wanted to knock this kid out, and Cody was calm and talking to him and
dancing around him.
And the way that Cruz responded, he basically admitted this guy, is better than I am. he beat me. He's better than I am, and I'm going to go in and train and come back. But I'll tell you, that's a guy that has a big future in Garbrandt. I would be interested to see who's going to really be the one to give him a big test, and I don't think it's going to be Dillashaw.
It's going to be Jeff Caveman, Caveman Dens.
There you go, the return of the caveman.
That's right.
Uh-oh.
Well, when you do that, dude, I will sponsor you with Cox's Custom Fits, and we'll put that all over, the ass of your trunks.
All right.
I guarantee you people will be looking that one up.
Micro-sized
No doubt
condoms.
about
We'll
it.
put it in a small print. Micro-sized condoms for the caveman.
There you go. Hey, listen, it fits all, right? that's the beauty of it.
I don't know. I never get one that fits. They always fall off. That's why I got damn kids.
Oh, damn.
Oh, listen, now since I'm having so much fun, I got to go at you with this one. The heavyweight division, the UFC.
Ray Aris.
Who do you see is the one that's going to come out shining, man? Who's going to walk away with the belt in 2017?
I'm going to say it's someone we probably don't even know of right now. There's going to be some phenomenal athlete that comes up and takes it, or Verdum's going to end up the year with the champion with a serious challenger coming in. There's so much turmoil in heavyweights.
I mean, look, the guy, if you remember when he fought Overeem his last time in Strikeforce, and he would just lay on his back and try to, get Overeem to come into the guard. He did not want to strike. Now, the guy's striking is really, it's amazing that he's come that far, and he's a deadly fighter. I think he's the best ground jiu-jitsu guy in the heavyweight division. I think he's better than Mir.
He's the best heavyweight grappler that's ever fought in MMA. He's better than Nogueira at his prime.
He started training with Shootbox, right? In Pride with the striking?
Yep.
Yeah, back in a long day ago.
No, Coco.
But he never used the striking, Verdum was a guy that was always going for the ground game. I mean, that's his bread and butter, and, that's a great thing. I mean, there's Rousey's problem, right? I mean, if she stuck with what got her the title, she might still be wearing the title. I think the worst thing happened to her was knocking out Betch Correa, but with Verdum, especially that fight against Cain, man, impressive. Now, you hear about people failing drug tests and everything. What about EPO and EPO and Velasquez? I had heard a rumor about that. I thought it was kind of stupid. I didn't believe it. And I seen him fight in Mexico. Granted, the elevation there is insane. He didn't go and acclimate like he should have. He said that he had fought there and trained there a lot, never had a problem. But, man, I have not seen that great gas tank since USADA.
Yeah, USADA changed a lot of guys' gas tanks. Some for better, some for worse, to be honest with you.
Hey,
I
Dan.
want to do a show. I want to do a show where I show a pic of the fighter 2 or 3 fights before. This is before USADA. This is after USADA.
Belfort. I know you don't like Belfort.
Overeem. Well, Belfort, listen, that guy, no. Vitor, that guy, first of all, he got busted back in like 05 or something, and he should have never have been able to get an exemption for TRT. That should have never happened. But he did get it. And he continued, to cheat. And just look at him now. He looks like an old man like me, for God's sake. The difference in his body type.
If you're not cheating, you're not trying to win hard enough. If you're not cheating, you're not trying to win hard enough.
Yeah, exactly. Overeem. He comes in, he weighs 263, ripped, man. No fat, nothing, just ripped. Now he'll weigh 240, 243, soft.
But you know what, though? Steroids get them horny. They could buy condoms from you.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, it always goes back to the condoms. And I'm good with it. Because I think it's a winner.
I think you really need to develop this idea. I think we should go in business together. Cox's condoms. We might have to change the way you spell Cox, though.
All the steroids could be running to you guys.
That's the beauty. You can always do that.
So
I want to see. I tell you what. I want to see Lewis. This guy in the heavyweights. He is a scary, scary man. He's really powerful. He's getting a lot better with his ground game, and I think the guy hits as hard as a Mark Hunt. To be honest with you, and I think he's a little bit meaner than Mark Hunt because he doesn't want to walk off. He wants to get in those extra, 2 or 3 shots. Maybe like Dan Henderson.
Yeah. You get the extra cool factor for the walk-off, though. I mean, people talk about it more, I think. It makes you more money in the long run.
You look like a badass.
Yeah, definitely cool factor.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
Then you get guys that get up, and then you look like a retard. So it's tough. It's a tough line.
Yeah, I'm still really just thinking about that fight last night and wondering, when everyone was asking me, well, hey, what about Shamrock and Gracie 2 or 3? It would have been the third fight. Are you serious?
Hey.
We need to have Shamrock and our guy go at it.
Yeah. We got a guy for Shamrock.
Listen. I'm all for it at
We're
this
gonna
point.
get Brad Kohler. Kohler against Ken Shamrock in my backyard.
Kendra Shamrock.
And we're gonna do it for Bellator. We'll just film it. They could do like a little op-ed piece about it.
Hey,
I'm all over it. I like Brad. I think Brad's a good guy, man. I'm going to have him on the show as well. And he might not be as famous to a lot of people. They don't know his history, but I would love to see him put a beating on Ken. No offense to Ken, but
the combo hitter's going to get him there.
You're going to keep coming back.
Shameless Caveman plug.
Coming back like that.
The combo hitter.
Yeah, it just gets.
Who's your favorite?
Old.
Who's your favorite legend?
Favorite legend, man. You know what? That's a tough question. That really is. I so many names and pop into my head. And
how about the Beast? The Beast.
Well, it's not the Emperor, right? It's not Crow Cop either. It's I did really like. It's not Silva either. I don't know. That's a great question. I'm a fan of so many that it's really hard to just pick one fighter out. But
Ray was trying to set you up with a guest. He's not very good at it. I've been tapping over here. Just shoot it out, Ray. Go for it. We're all about honesty here, so go for it, Ray.
Okay. Dan the Beast Severin wanna get in contact with you.
To come on
come on your show or whatever. You know?
Dan is a legend, and he a deserved legend. What he was doing was pretty incredible back in the day, and plus the mustache, you guys. That's
a true porn stash.
Points right there. As a guy with a mustache, I've got to say I was always impressed with Dan's mustache, and he was again another one of those fighters that's mean. He enjoyed putting a hurting on you, and you got to respect that.
He's got over 100 fights. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and he's still fighting.
That is amazing.
It's up to
that
2012.
is amazing. I don't know how you could possibly. I just don't know how you could do that. You're going through so much trauma in your body. Again, you talk about cutting weight and stuff, and then just the training itself is. People don't understand what these fighters are going through on a daily basis. It's really it's kind of shocking when you're right there watching. How these fighters are training on every single day, and how disciplined from diet to, especially with USADA now, and there's no IVs, and so you've got to be in shape in order to make the weight, and it's pretty impressive, man. I don't know any other sport where you can be in this type of shape that you are with in MMA. Not football, not baseball, not hockey. Have someone take you down, get up, take you down, get up, take you down, get up. It doesn't take but a couple of those before you start realizing, whoa, I wish I'd have did a little more cardio.
Cardio's stupid. Ray just eats Whoppers.
Yeah, I hate cardio.
It would. It is. It's the most. There's nothing fun about it. What do people say? You get a runner's high? No, that's because you got to be high to run that long. I personally would much rather get in there and get the fight over real quick and walk out of there, and then do the cardio. The cardio is a killer, but it's a lot better to do that than it is to not be able to defend yourself in there. And I think that's the worst.
So
that's the worst feeling you could ever have.
I heard there's a rumor.
Who's the favorite fighter of you guys? Let's hear that one.
My favorite fighter is myself, but after myself, I don't know. I used to love Vanderlei Silva, but like now he got busted. I don't know. I used to like Hoist Gracie, but then I met him and he was trying to get blowjobs from moms, so I'm not sure really like him anymore.
Well, see, that right there, that would be a problem. You know, as far as getting busted and everything, I think pretty much any of the fighters at some point could have gotten busted for something. You know, you start asking moms for blowjobs. That's an issue. I think I'd have an issue with that.
Yeah. I don't know. Matt Hughes was my favorite forever, so I'm gonna have to say Matt Hughes is my all-time favorite.
Stud. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I still love when he took the title, when he actually, people say, oh, and he slammed him. He was in a triangle and he slammed him. No, he was going unconscious and fell.
Still counts. Still counts.
Yeah, Carlos Newton.
Yeah, I got a signed championship belt from Carlos Newton. He was a referee when I fought, and he signed my belt for me.
He still had the dreadlocks.
No kidding. I didn't know Newton was doing any refereeing. That was something.
That was a long time ago, too. That was like 2012, so it was 11 maybe even.
Yeah, he's from Canada, too. And yeah, he was pretty good grappler in Pride.
Also, Forrest Griffin has got to be one of our favorites. My wife's favorite for sure. Our son is named Forrest after Forrest Griffin, so his style is very similar to mine. So like when you pick me, it's the same as Forrest Griffin. Except I'm more handsome than Forrest Griffin because I got a beard.
Well, listen, I have to say, dude, when I asked you, I said Caveman as in a la, Rickles, the Caveman in Bellator. And, I got a good look at you. I was like, holy shit, this dude is a caveman. I think you wear it well, too. Now, if you shaved like an arrow in your chest, I can't think of, who's the guy that does that in the UFC? Old vet.
I don't know. An arrow in the chest?
Kimbo?
Yeah, he shaves in his chest there. I think he actually had one fight where he wore the Speedo and he had a little wardrobe malfunction too, and his sack fell on the guy's face.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Epperson? Can't think of it.
I see his face. I see that whole fight. I imagine that the really tight blue pants he had on too. And then Dana told me he can never wear it again. I can't believe.
Dana said that'll never happen again.
I can't remember his fucking name.
That will never happen again.
Yeah, that was awesome. Who's your favorite fighter, Ray?
You've seen the look of the guy's face on the ground. He was ready to tap just from the sack. I mean, that was it. Tap by, teabag. That was original. I never seen nothing like it.
Brian
I never saw. Yeah. That's it.
Karis on Google. She was quick. She's not like.
She is.
She's like the producer now.
That's a guy that you could emulate right there, Jeff. And you could. I mean, you do have the hair where you could kind of shave any shape that you want.
One time I shaved my beard down the middle and my head down the middle, but Ken Shamrock made fun of me, so I don't like him. And Tito
cool.
Ortiz dissed my wife too. He wouldn't take a picture with her. He was kind of a douchebag too.
And that's shocking because Tito is usually the guy that does take a lot of pictures with the fans.
We knew the promoter and everything too, so we were out hanging out with the promoter and Tito. They brought him in for an event. And, we were at a bar, too, kind of. So he, took his whole crew out, and he racked up a $50,000 bar bill that night for the promoter.
Was that the Niagara Falls?
No, it wasn't Niagara Falls in Pittsburgh. We were down in Pittsburgh.
Okay. Yeah, listen, Tito is, again, when I had a really funny experience, and it was a couple years ago at International Fight Week. It was Ben Rothwell. The UFC was not going to give Ben his booth to sign for the fans, and I thought that was some bullshit. So I reached out to Ben and worked it out so that we got Ben down there, and he would spend an hour or so a day with me. We would interact with fans, and that's the way it was going to go. Well, we went to the Invicta fights, and we're sitting there in the lobby after the fights, and I'm sitting with Ben, and Tito Ortiz comes out of the elevator, and he's got his little group with him, and he goes walking past, and Ben says, "Was it Tito?" I said, "Yeah, it was." And all of a sudden, he says, "Hey, you fucking pussy!" And I just kind of looked down. I was like, Ben. We start running. We catch up with Tito, and he was a really nice guy, man. I got to say, he was really nice, and he was huge, dude. This man's head is the most intimidating head I've ever seen in my life.
I know. I thought my wife had a big head.
Bigger head on another person. I mean, I met Bigfoot Silva, giant head, but it's kind of proportionate. Tito, that is. I don't know a word for it. I mean, I don't know if there's.
That's HGH is the word you're looking for. Human growth hormone. That's what makes your head so big.
It's very scary.
We're going to have to start wrapping up for a couple minutes, but we got a couple of things to say. Number one, Ray wanted to let you know that he's serious about Dan Severn wanting to come on your show. So if we can hook that up for you, if you would be interested in that.
That would be awesome, guys, and I would be honored to have Dan on the show.
Also, we heard that you may be offering us to come on the show. I don't know if that's some crazy rumor.
That's definitely what's going to happen. We are going to have a 3-way Skype.
That sounds kind of dirty.
It does.
Like a threesome.
And I waited to say that until I came on, but I want you guys to come on the show because, listen, your fans that listen to you every week, they want to know, who the hell is the Caveman? What do these guys do? What do they look like? And now you will not be able to hide behind any old pictures.
They're going to look at two ugly dudes.
You today. Yeah.
Ray's a handsome guy. He's our pimp.
Two ugly dudes, a caveman and a Mexican.
I don't have any handsome people on my show.
That's might be coming to our show now. As soon as they see Ray, we're gonna have some border patrol people coming here.
I got a big head
well,
like
you
Tito
know what?
Ortiz.
I've got an interview that's coming up, and it's going to be sometime in the first couple weeks of February with someone that, for me, this is a huge deal because I'm a big fan, and it's Michael Chavello, the voice, right? Access TV. I think he's one of the best color commentators that I've ever heard. He's just super entertaining. If you don't know who I'm talking about, you've got to watch Access Fights every Friday. It's where you're going to see legacy fights.
He did boxing too, right? I think
he did Glory.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's been around a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been around a long time, and he's got the best one-liners.
He got the British accent.
If somebody's bleeding,
Yeah.
he'll what's the one-liner? He says, "Oh, somebody call the Red Cross. He's making a donation." And he comes off with these, you have to love it because when you're calling, if you've ever done color, and you have, Jeff, so you know what I'm talking about, you're in the moment. And to be able to come out with stuff, throwing more crosses in the Vatican and I love the guy. So I'm so excited to be able to have him on the show as well.
I'm going to send
you guys.
I'm going to send you tape of me color commentating. You'll be excited.
You know what? I love it. I do. I love it. I think there's very few guys that can really translate to doing good color, whether they're fighters or not. But I think that fighters become the best color guys. I think Frank Mir with WEC was outstanding.
I can't believe he doesn't have a job somewhere. He's one of the best, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good.
I listen. People give Frank a little knock. They think he's a smart ass or
he is,
whatever,
but
right?
He's still good.
He is, and you know what? Those people that just have that look on their face like they're being a smart ass, but it's just the look on their face. I think he might be cursed with that because Frank is really a good guy, and he's a very intelligent guy too. He's a student of the game. But yeah, definitely, you guys are coming on the show, and I've got some guests that I will definitely send your way as well.
Awesome.
I know that there's a few people that would be great. I've got a girl that I'm working with. Her name's Monica Franco, and she is 1-0 as a professional. She actually won, I think, the Bozzy Award for the Female Knockout of the Year. She's out of Hawaii, and this is a tough girl right here, guys. I promise you will be seeing her this year in 2017, and she brings it, man. She brings it.
Sounds great. I can't wait. We're going to have some great teamwork working together, going back and forth with guests. And I think I'm going to spice your show up a little bit. I watch it. It's kind of, you stand there, you look a little too serious. I'm going to get you crack up on your own show. I almost guarantee it.
I guarantee you will, too. Because... you know what? It does. You've got to get out of your comfort zone sometimes. And when I first started, the very first thing I did was the radio shows. And
yeah, he stands there like this, right?
It, man.
Yeah, I'm
a lot of
crack
fun.
up.
Oh yeah, because when I do my shows, they're live. They're one take, but obviously I don't have the ability to put the shows out live that way, although we are working on that. So with Fight TV and Fight Network coming forward, instead of just on Roku, where you've got to pay monthly for it, it's got great content. I think it's worth it myself, but going to have a free channel, and everyone will be able to watch. And
free channel sounds perfect for us.
Well,
25-cent host.
Hey, you know what? Now, the mobile app with Fight TV, they put a lot of the radio shows on, and I think you guys would be a great fit on there, and I would definitely see what I can do to help on that. And yeah, man, we'll have a good time. I think there's a big future for what we do. And we're growing as the sport is, and hey, it's a lot of fun, man. And you guys have a good time. You know what you're talking about, pretty much, right?
I hope so. Well, I do. Maybe not Ray. Ray knows about Whoppers and rice and beans, I think.
Yeah, and making fun of Mickey.
Yo, Mickey. Well, I'll tell you what. Do me a favor, guys, and make sure to throw a couple good words out there about me when I'm off. So
we will, and we'll make sure.
I know you're gonna dog me the second I'm off. I know how this plays, but
no way.
That's okay.
We like you a lot. You're pretty good. You gotta listen for the after comments when Ray talks his garbage after the music, though. We'll make sure that we throw
Cox's Custom Condoms. I know it's coming.
Cox's Custom Condoms is the official sponsor of the Caveman's Corner.
Oh yeah.
Well, we said, all right, our official sponsor for this.
Wrap up before you stick it.
Custom fit condoms. You
wrap
too
it up.
can have your own custom fit condom. Yeah.
All right, thank
We'll
you.
work on it.
We're throwing Vitor under the bus, and thank you very much for coming on Caveman's Corner. Ray, you want to take us out?
Okay, fight fans from Fandoozy Studios, we out of here.
You forgot Buffalo, New York, bro.
Oh, from Buffalo, New York, we out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Too late for Mickey. He already got STDs. He could have got them use them condoms,
I wonder if some of the people at the gym know about Mickey's condom non-usage.
You should see the animals he lay with. Okay.
Oh my God, you guys.
Okay, Dan Simmons is acting up. He said, "Call now."
All right. We're still on.
Oh,
I got you again.
oh damn. When you talk about John Jones, I was gonna say he could have got cocaine from me.
You just said it. That was great.